listeners. This is Ivan Franklin Rose, and this is the one on negative self-talk, positive self-talk, and how mindfulness can keep you positive. My mom was a big proponent on positive self-talk. She wrote several books, Begin to Live, How to Grow Younger as You Get Older, and in previous episodes we went over vision boards and how to do positive affirmations. Positive self-talk is something that you have to practice. We all have some thinking of inadequacy or failure that's in our head that causes negative self-talk. But there's one thing you have to keep in mind. It's an incontrovertible fact. I've seen babies born. You may have seen babies born and have your own. But I've never seen a baby salesman born, a baby doctor, a baby lawyer, or a baby that's anything more than a baby being born. You learn those things. You believe in those things. You grow to those things. Whatever you do in your life is something that starts from when you're a baby. So you begin as a blank slate. That's the important thing to know. It's an incontrovertible fact. So how we think and the way we think has to do with how we grew up. If our parents supported us and told us we can do things, we're smart, we're this, if they put these thoughts in our heads, we will grow up to have these thoughts in our heads. If they put negative thinkings in your heads, or the people around you, if it's not your parents, could be the school children, teachers, anyone can be a bad influence on you or a good influence. But if they put the thoughts in your head that you can't do this, you're never going to be able to do that, you're never going to amount to anything, all these thoughts cause negative thinking later in life as an adult. But it's a choice. Everything we do in life is a choice. If we don't know any better, when we hear negativity, we choose to believe it. If we don't know any better, when we hear positivity from a parent or someone else in our lives, we choose to believe it. It's our choice what we choose to do with the information that surrounds us. So, as you grow up, you do things and either got praise or negativity for it. It's important to believe that you can be successful at something, that you can achieve some results doing something, and have that belief, whether it's a sport, whether it's singing, whether it's playing the piano, whatever it is that you attempted in your life. If you have some success, then you know that at one point in your life, you were successful at doing something. And one success is all you need to change your thinking later in life, is to remember that you were successful at something, anything that you did when you were younger that was a success. It could be a puzzle you put together. Even reading a book successfully, you finished a book, anything can be a learned success. I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to be reading some notes today. This is unusual on a video, but there are some very important people that have some thoughts that I want to share. But the first thing I want you to know, there's a story about a man called Vance Walker, a high school graduate from Tampa, Florida. And he was born with cerebral palsy. And he had a dream that he could get over his physical disability. His parents believed in him, and he trained. And he said to them, "Mom, one day I want to compete in a sport." And later on, as he grew older, he started watching a show called America's Ninja Warrior. And he decided American Ninja Warrior was going to be his thing. He was going to do it, and he was going to win it. Well, this year, 2023, he competed. Again, he has to exercise every day to have use of his legs. He has a problem with his physicality. But this year, Vance Walker, you can look it up, high school graduate from Tampa, won American Ninja Warrior. How is that possible? How could someone born with cerebral palsy get over it enough, have enough resiliency and desire to work through his physicality to get to it? That's because his parents believed that he could do it. His parents supported him. He had positivity from his friends, his teachers. That's what it takes to be successful in life, is to have some support and have the wherewithal to exist in your own head without support if you don't have it, but seek out people who will support you if you didn't have it growing up. That's what it takes. People who train their brains to think more positively are not just happier, but have a stronger immune system and are more productive, and they live longer. And let's face it, just more fun to be around. So develop positive thinking instead of what I call stinking thinking. The World Health Organization says 350 million people worldwide suffer from depression, and about 20 million Americans from depression, and 40 million Americans suffer from anxiety. So what we want to do is create something that will work for everyone to change their thinking. When we say we can't, we won't, it won't happen, all this negative thinking, we're putting thoughts in our head to make it happen, to make things occur that don't have to occur necessarily. Because we're telling our brain to believe we are going to fail, and so when we're doing it, we don't try our best. We don't remember everything. Remember when you were studying for a test in school, if you can remember back that far, or if you're young, and you remember how it was when you weren't prepared. When you weren't prepared, you knew you weren't going to do well. But that's different because there was a reason why you weren't doing well. You weren't prepared. But when you studied and you knew your material and you went into a test and you had the positive wherewithal in your head to know, I'm going to do well, because you believed in yourself and you knew you studied and you knew you were prepared. And so you went into it and most of the time probably did well on the test. And if you failed a couple of questions, then you'd look at it and you'd say, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't do it the right way, or I could have done it better, or whatever it is. You learned from that. But you put in your head that it was positive. And so that's what we're saying. Negative thinking, when you are prepared, when you have done your work, is just totally the wrong mindset. If you haven't done your work, then go do your work. If you aren't prepared, be prepared. So you can counteract negative thinking by being in the mindset of when you did that when you were prepared for the test, when you were ready, in that you now have a reason to think positive because you can believe in yourself. So get prepared. Analyze negative thinking as to where it's coming from and why it's being there and why it's there in your mind at all. If it comes because you feel that you're just not ready for something, then prepare and get ready. Now, once you've done that, put the thoughts in your head that you are going to achieve what you set out to do. You are going to be successful. You can be successful. You can do this. Think of any positivity you got in your life. Think of anyone who was a support system in your life. Remember their words. Block out anyone who wasn't. Anyone who is negative. They're not important. They didn't know you. And anyone who speaks negative of someone else doesn't deserve to be heard and doesn't deserve to be remembered. So, in my opinion. So, forget their thinking. Forget their negative talk. Only remember the people in your life who gave you support and are aiming in your direction for a positive result. They're with you. They're supportive. Now, positive self-talk is easy to do. Well, it's easy to write your notes on a 3x5 card and put it on a bathroom mirror or put it on a refrigerator. We covered that in positive affirmations. But talking to yourself a little more than affirmation, positive self-talk is the belief system that you can achieve something, that you are prepared, and that people are going to recognize that you can do something, and that you're going to get the recognition you deserve, and you're going to get ahead. And that's all in your head. Everything in your head is either positive or negative. You create it. You have the power to change it. You have the power to create it. So let's go into a couple of things that might be interesting for you. All right, so the first thing, we turn to experts to find out what emotional power tools they recommend to chip away at depression or reduce anxiety and become more mentally resilient so you can welcome happiness back in your life. Because anxiety can breed negative thinking. If you're just uptight about something and you're unsure about something, it's natural to have second thoughts. You have to really push yourself into positive thoughts. It takes an effort to get there and to change that thinking that anxiety produces. So challenge your thoughts. Judith Beck, PhD, psychologist, author, and daughter of cognitive therapy founder Dr. Aaron Beck, says, when you have depression, you tend to understand your experience through black glasses instead of clear lenses. With depression, it's important to stay active and be skeptical of any negative thoughts you might have. Just because you think something doesn't necessarily mean it's true, says Judith, and I firmly believe that. She suggests doing things that make you feel productive and in control, even when your mood is low and you don't feel like it. According to Dr. David Burns, Stanford psychiatrist and author of the best-selling book Feeling Good, our thoughts create all of our moods. When you are depressed and anxious, you are giving yourself negative messages. You are blaming yourself and telling yourself terrible things are going to happen. Distorted thoughts cause human suffering. Think about that. Cognitive distortions are things like all or nothing thinking, says David. For example, if your performance falls short of perfect, you see yourself as a total loser. Or fortune telling, where you anticipate things will turn out badly and you treat your prediction as fact. You can see where already that's breeding failure. You have to change your stinking thinking. Another cognitive distortion is mental filter, where you hone in on one negative detail and dwell on it exclusively so that your vision of reality becomes darkened, or disqualifying the positive by rejecting positive experiences as if they don't count for some reason. Each of the 10 cognitive distortions that David has identified can be challenged with more positive and realistic thinking, taking back your negative thoughts. You can take back your negative thinking. Everything is a choice. You choose how to wake up in the morning. You choose whether to smile or frown. It takes more energy to frown than to smile, less muscles to smile than to frown. So, David recommends what he calls a triple column technique to identify distortions in your thinking. And I believe in this, and I do this myself. Take a piece of paper and make 3 columns. In the first column, write down your negative thoughts. In the second column, identify the cognitive distortion. And in the third column, challenge your negative thought. Examine the evidence and question whether your negative thought is really valid. When you change the way you think, you change the way you feel. Okay. You don't have to be perfect. There are so many stressful moments you could easily diffuse by whispering to yourself, I don't have to be perfect. I can just be me. Self-acceptance is tied to mental resilience, he says. Having unreasonable or rigid standards that continually outstrip reality is a recipe for a negative self-image and a lack of resilience. Positive psychology expert Caroline Miller has drawn similar conclusions from her research. People who are exposed to stories of other people's hardship and how those people successfully overcame those hardships are more persevering and less likely to be self-critical, Caroline says. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's work on fixed mindsets has also found that when you don't see yourself as someone who is capable of change, you can't deal with the prospect of failure. But people with a grown mindset are more forgiving of their mistakes because they see themselves as works of progress who are capable of making tremendous change. See yourself as a work in progress. See yourself as a possibility of success, a possible example to yourself of someone who can be successful. Be an example to yourself by having small wins even. I believe in small wins. Do something that's a win. A successful sale, a successful report, something successful that you've done. Have a day at class if you're a teacher where you reach even one student, especially, that you know you've moved that student to be more happy with himself, more successful. Find some win in something and believe that you can be capable of growth and that you're a work in progress. All right. Aim for success, not perfection, says David. Never give up your right to be wrong, because then you will lose the ability to learn new things and move forward with your life. Remember that fear always lurks behind perfectionism. Controlling your fears and allowing yourself to be human can make you a happier and more productive person. And learn how to comfort yourself. You probably know instinctively how to provide comfort to a child, a best friend, or a beloved pet. But do you know how to comfort yourself? You can become better at self-compassion with practice, Judith suggests, being sensitive to the suffering of others, as it will help you to be compassionate towards yourself. Accept and acknowledge your own suffering. Work to relieve and prevent it by non-judgmentally caring for your own well-being. Don't be so judgmental for yourself. Because if you believe you're a work in progress, you'll know that there is something more, that there's something more that can happen. There's a growth that can take place. You're not always going to have that feeling of failure with a particular thing. It's going to change. Positive psychology expert and author Michelle McQuaid says, self-compassion is hugely important for mental resilience. Too often we turn to our inner critic as a means of motivating ourselves and fail to recognize that while this may get us moving in the short term, neurologically speaking over time, it actually undermines our motivation, confidence, and willingness to pursue our goals. Self-compassion, she says, allows us to recognize that like everyone else, we're human and still learning. When you show yourself self-compassion, it's like having a good friend with you all the time, writes Kristen Neff, PhD, in her book, Self-Compassion, The Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself. It's a great book. When you feel a dark mood approaching or having trouble getting through a rough time, here are some more tested, effective tools to fill out the rest of your kit. Embrace anxiety. Don't try to fight or eliminate anxiety, suggests Judith Beck. Watch it from a distance. Evaluate your anxious thinking and correct it if it's distorted. If not, go to problem solving. Act in accordance with your values. Avoid action or inaction that's tied to fear. That's where that list before comes important. Because when you write down your negative thoughts and you evaluate what's behind it and what's causing you to think it, then you can work on it. There's a reason why we think negatively on things. There's something in our life that caused us to believe we can't do it, we can't achieve it with something. We have to go back to that and understand if it's valid. You have to know if your thinking is correct thinking, because if it is correct, then you can correct it by applying yourself, learning new things, reading new things, correct something that's causing the negative thinking, and that will lead to positive thinking. Because just like when you took that test and you knew you were prepared for it, you know you will be prepared for life and anything in it. And to be the best in your relationships too. Do work on yourself. Become the best you can be for that. I have a podcast on Be the Best You Can Be. Okay. So the next is connect with people. Make a true connection with people. Look at them in the eye, listen to them, connect with human beings. And surround yourself with good people who will support you and care about you, and not people who are negative thinkers. That's definitely something you don't want to surround yourself with. Sleep on it. Sometimes when we have negative thoughts, we can sleep on it. Our brain works through the problem at night, and then we wake up with a solution at hand. I've done that myself where I've thought about something and knew I'd have a solution in the morning, and I wake up with some other thoughts on it that lead me to a conclusion. Sometimes it's just additional things to think about, but can lead me to make a decision based on more facts. So sleep on it. And then maybe you'll change negative thinking to positive thinking. Sit in silence. This is also helpful. So sometimes just being in a quiet mode, just sitting by yourself, no distractions, and dwell on what's causing this feeling. Why do you feel this way? How can you correct that thinking? How can you achieve what you're trying to do? What do you have to do to get there? So sitting in silence, definitely one tool that you can go to. Block out things you can't control. I have one rule in my life that I really particularly think applies here. If you can do something about something that bothers you and troubles you, take action and do it. If you can't do anything about it, let it go. Don't build anxiety about it. If you can't change it, nothing you can do about it, let it go. You got into a car accident. Are you okay? Are you injured? Get yourself to a hospital. Get yourself to a doctor. If you're okay, call your insurance company. Get the car fixed. Dwelling on it happening doesn't help. There's nothing that can help. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You can't do anything about it. What are you going to race up next to him and cut him off? Give him the finger? Why is that productive? How is that helping at all? Let it go. Let it go. Leads me to the next one. Don't take things personally. The guy didn't cut you off because he knows you. He was going somewhere. He was in a hurry. Who knows what was happening? Maybe he has to get to the hospital. You don't know what's going on in his head. But let it go. And don't take things personally. If you fail at a contest, you fail at something, you don't win a contest at work, whatever it is, don't take it personally. No one had it in for you. It wasn't against you. Maybe you weren't prepared. Maybe they just had something better they turned in. Whatever it is, let it go. Don't take it personally. So block out things you can't control. Change your narrative. Change your channel. So if you're focused on a way of thinking, you're really focused on you're not going to do something, it can't be done, whatever it is, this failure you feel in your life, change the channel. Go to a channel where you feel success. Just turn that channel. Change the narrative in your life. Think of what you can do that's success. Have a success. Do something that's a success. It's as simple as going to a garden and finding the most beautiful flower to pick, that you found the most beautiful, perfect flower in that garden. And that is a success, finding the most beautiful flower. Finding something that brings joy in your life, that you were able to spot something that makes you happy. Find some reason to change the narrative. Don't let the negative narrative control your life. Don't let one failure control your life, or two, or three, because any failure is a matter of analyzing why, a matter of seeing if you were prepared, if there's anything you could have done to do better. And if you did your best and someone did it better, you're not a failure. You're a success as well because you did your best and you had a good report or a good presentation or whatever it is, you still did a good job. You aren't a failure because you did a good job and someone did a better job. That doesn't make you a failure. It just means someone had a better report or a better job or better this or better that. You didn't fail. So keep that in mind. So change the narrative, change the channel, and rewrite your story. You can rewrite your history. You can rewrite your story. Go back in your life and think of any positive thing you did in your life. Think of any success you had with anything, a puzzle you did, anything, and remember that success. You can do it. Change the narrative. Rewrite your story. Understand what you really are feeling. So that goes into analyzing. This is a tool where you look at whatever happened that's causing this thinking. Why am I thinking this way? And get to the bottom of why you're thinking that way. Get to the bottom of what's causing this negative, stinking thinking. So you can change it and then turn it into a positive. When you understand it, if you can correct it, correct it. If you can't, let it go. Let it go. Don't have anxiety and stress and get depressed over something you can't control. And if you can control it, control it. Take action. That's the best way to live your life. It doesn't make sense to get sick and unhealthy over something you can't control. Journal your thoughts. Journaling is so important. So many doctors and professionals believe in journaling. Write down your thoughts on paper. Thoughts on anything. Positive thoughts, and you can keep some thoughts for positive and some thoughts for negative. I like to separate it. I have two sides of the journal page, and one side for the same day is negative thoughts, and the other side is positive thoughts. Now, not that I have negative thoughts or want to have negative thoughts, but if any thought comes to mind that is just in what I consider negative thinking, I'll put it down there so I can look at it and analyze it, just like I'm telling you to do. And then the positive thoughts, anything positive will go on the other page. Any good things I want to remember. That's part of journaling. It's different than a diary. You're not writing your experiences, but you're journaling your thoughts, positive and negative thoughts. It's a journal just for thoughts, just for this. Take care of your needs. Taking care of your needs is so important. Make sure your needs are met. If you're a person that's always catering to somebody else's needs, God bless, that's wonderful, but also take care of your needs. Make sure that you make your needs important. And then exercise. Exercise can get rid of anxiety. It's just a wonderful way to let go and raise those endorphins and forget about everything else. So remember to get some exercise in if you're feeling anxious about anything and you want to change it. Recognize your strengths. Now, I covered that a little before. Make sure that you know what you're strong in, if you have strengths, or any win that you ever had that could be considered a strength at all. And develop strengths. If you have no strengths, and it's really odd for someone to have no strengths, not one. Think of a strength as a communication skill could be a strength. Even though it's not a sport or something, being able to communicate with others, being able to empathize with others. That could be also considered a strength. Being able to help other people with your ideas and thoughts, that could be a strength. So a strength can be anything that you feel that you do better than other things that you don't do as well, or better than other people, but it's a strength. Okay. We're coming to the end. Make positive choices. Obviously, make positive choices. Have little wins. Do things that are positive in your life. Have some positivity in your life. Make sure you include positivity in your life. And lastly, stop comparing yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to other people. So those are some of the thoughts. Now we want to talk about mindfulness and how mindfulness can help with negative thinking and positive thinking. We want your thinking to change to positive thinking. And mindfulness can help reduce anxiety, all kinds of stress, and even some depression. So that's why we're going to cover mindfulness now, to help you on your journey to develop positive thoughts, get rid of stinking thinking, and try to relieve some stress in your life. So it's about paying attention. When I start talking about all the things mindfulness can do, I sound like a snake oil salesman, jokes Richard Sears, PsyD, PhD, MBA, ABPP of the Center of Clinical Mindfulness and Meditation at Union Institute and University in Cincinnati, and author of Mindfulness, Living Through Challenges and Enriching Your Life in This Moment. You should read that book. It increases happiness, improves relationships, helps alleviate conditions like depression and chronic pain, but really what's going on is awareness. It's about paying attention, bringing us back to what is going on right now. Richard's work in the area of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, is a form of MBSR that implements cognitive therapy-based exercises. Cognitive therapy explores and challenges negative thought processes. MBCT is effective in treating problems like depression and anxiety, he says, because it creates a connection between our thoughts and our feelings. Take a moment, take a breath. Once you've experienced depression, it cuts a pathway into your brain and makes it easier to become depressed the next time you feel sad, Richard says. MBCT teaches you to notice signs of problems coming up so you can prevent them. Mindfulness teaches us to take a moment, take a breath, and get back to what's happening now rather than reacting to the what-ifs of the situation. That means one rough patch in your day no longer spirals into negative thoughts and triggers bad memories and depression. With more awareness comes better choices, Richard says. If I'm aware of how I'm reacting, I can lower my stress response, and that makes other things better. I'm less vulnerable, and my immune system can heal better. Everything improves when you become more aware, and that makes sense, doesn't it? Awareness is so important. So be conscious of that fact. Healthier mind, healthier body is his next point. The mind-body connection has been well proved over time, and mindfulness proponents and practitioners say it holds many keys into creating a healthier, happier life by influencing the body. It's not a cure-all, but it will assist in whatever a person is struggling with, whatever that's physical, mental, or emotional, says Ryan Nemiak, PsyD Education Director at the VIA Institute on Character and author of Mindfulness and Character Strengths, A Practical Guide to Flourishing. It offers support and assistance in whatever you're trying to accomplish. Take, for example, someone with chronic pain. To learn how to feel and face that directly is a huge challenge, but to bring an honest awareness to your own suffering can completely change your relationship with it. Think about it. Awareness is the key to so many things. And sometimes, one of the things we talked about a minute ago, sitting in silence, meditating, being quiet, helps you to become aware and get to this stage. Studies have documented the effects of mindfulness on physical ailments. Ryan says medical and scientific endorsements have boosted its popularity and have shown the ways that it can help both physical and mental challenges. Before and after brain scans show that certain areas of the brain get thicker after practicing mindfulness for about 8 weeks. According to Richard, he equates it to building muscles by lifting weights. That's a good analogy. Over time, you get stronger, but it has to be maintained in order for the results to continue. like weightlifting. So, a more powerful tool for health. Think about this. Some clinical studies have focused on how mindfulness can influence specific ailments, including substance abuse, anxiety, PTSD, depression, autism, cancer, multiple sclerosis, heart disease, AIDS, high blood pressure, and headaches. On the broadest level, mindfulness is seen as a tool to improve health because it boosts our immune system. Scientists have attributed this to lower secretions of cortisol and adrenaline, both of which suppress the immune system. And you know that from other lectures that other sessions that we've done. Louis Alaro was working on his master of applied positive psychology degree when he first learned about mindfulness. Even though I had been involved with personal development my whole life, had started getting involved with positive psychology, I kept thinking, I don't know how to do that. But once a friend and fellow MAPP student started teaching him mindfulness, he realized that not only was it something he could do easily, it was something that he had always had the tools for. All he needed was someone who could show him how to use them. Today, Lewis can't imagine life without mindfulness and meditation practices, which he says help him become more positive and appreciate and benefit him both physically and mentally. Easy self-care. I think the future of self-care is the future of healthcare is self-care. And mindfulness is such an effective, easy, and cheap strategy for self-care, he says. We can calm our parasympathetic nervous system. We talked about that in a previous episode on the fight-flight syndrome, which is our rest and digest system, and those two things that have just seemed to always be in overdrive today. We're always overdoing it. So being mindful has allowed Lewis to slow his reactions, calm his mind, and become healthier. In doing so, he is able to accomplish more while feeling less stressed. I love the adage that you have to slow down to speed up, he says. Mindfulness lets you do that. A study by the National Science Foundation discovered that on any given day, this is really something, our brain generates some 50,000 thoughts. That averages out to about 52 thoughts a minute during waking hours. So I never thought about that, but so it is any wonder that many of us find it a challenge to stay in the moment. As a doctoral student at Harvard, Matt Killingsworth became interested in the association between happiness and what we think about. He developed the Track Your Happiness app to study the causes of happiness and monitored users in real time. With more than 15,000 subjects in 80 countries, Matt collected 650,000 live reports that led to the conclusion that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. People who were in the moment consistently were happier than those whose minds were wandering, even if they were performing a task they didn't enjoy. What Matt found most surprising was just how often our minds wander. Overall, our minds are on something other than what we're doing 47% of the time. Think about that. That's a lot. And unfortunately, when our minds wander, they usually aren't visiting a happy place. We often end up with anxiety and worry about the future, or anger or regret about the past. Matt's studies showed that a wandering mind isn't the consequence of unhappiness and related to anger or anxiety, it's the cause of it. The only moment we can ever be is in the present, Richard points out. Mindfulness is about being in the moment, bringing our attention back to what's happening right now. For most of us, learning to be in the moment takes some work to undo what's become a deeply ingrained pattern. As children, we have the innate ability to enjoy the present moment as it unfolds, but before long, we're taught to thinking about your future. You know, I don't know if you've been out with your loved one, either on a date or with your wife or spouse or husband, and they turn to you and you say, are you paying attention? Are you listening to this? Are you in the moment? If you're in the moment, you both will enjoy time better. Your life together will be more enjoyable. Stay in the moment. Enjoy what you're doing. But yes, if you've ever been through that, and I've had it, I've been wandering, my mind wandering, not in the moment. It's happened before, and it's normal and natural, but just pay attention, be cognizant, and try to be in the moment when you're with someone you care about, with your friends, with anyone. If you're doing something, try to stay in the moment. Your life is now. We're often taught that the good thing is coming. It's always about the next thing, he says. Over time, we lose the capacity to enjoy good moments, even when we accomplish a great thing. We're already thinking about what's next. Isn't that the truth? We can relate to that, I'm sure, a lot of us. While there's a place for planning, he says the current model doesn't allow us the chance to enjoy the moment. As children, we start talking about what will be when we grow up. We go to a high school, we think about college, and while we're in college, we dream about the career that's waiting for us. The cycle continues once we get that job. We start saving for our dream house, working for the next promotion, building the future. Before long, it's time to save for retirement and plan for golden years. About middle age, a lot of us wake up and realize we've been tricked. We realize this is my life. It's not coming. It's already here, Richard says. So, think about all this. We control our actions through the thinking, whether negative or positive. If you want to have failure, think negative thoughts. You're bound to fail and have a failure. If you want to succeed, your best chance is positive thinking. Your best chance is to put your best foot forward, believe you can do something. Know the reasons you can. Write down even the reasons why you believe you can succeed that will bring up the positive thinking. But do it. Get rid of your stinking thinking. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness doesn't always have to be meditation. And meditation is wonderful. We're going to do a session on that one day. But also it could be just quiet time, being unto yourself, just sitting there relaxed and thinking about all the things that are positive in your life, and then leaving your life go blank after that. So you put all these positive thoughts in your line, think of all the things you're thankful for, the family in your life, your friends, anything good that's happened to you at all, anything good. And if nothing good has happened to you, think about someone that has it worse off than you. If you have no shoes, there's somebody without any feet. Whatever it is that you think is the worst scenario, there's somebody that has it worse. Just think about something positive, and then leave your mind go blank and relax. Just relax, relax. And take a moment to refresh your brain, refresh your heart, refresh your breath, refresh your body, and then you'll be on the road to a positive start with positive thoughts. Remember to start each day with a smile. Find some reason to smile, something in life to smile. A picture you cut out of a magazine, looking out your window, looking at your loved ones. Find some reason to have joy out of life. And with that, I bid you a wonderful night. Until next time, goodbye.